about that. The rejection decision that companies make are much more a business decision rather than a personal decision. However, we tend to take things personally, right? We put so much effort to prepare for the interviews, to prepare for the technical tests. Then when we get a rejection that's so disappointing, we tend to take this as a personal rejection. And many people
Welcome to Career Dynamo, the podcast where we explore the evolving career landscape. I'm Marwa, a neuro coach. My journey began in Cairo in 2004 and led me to Berlin in 2020. Using insights from psychology and neuroscience, I help individuals transform their careers and lives by training the brain and harnessing brain plasticity to make conscious decisions. I host experts who share valuable insights and strategies for professional growth. Career Dynamo is your go-to destination for mastering success and advancing your career. Thank you for joining us, Fernanda, today. Let's jump right in. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what got you started with Imagine?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Marva. I'm Fernanda. I have been working for a long time in the talent acquisition field, and in 2018, I was one of the co-founders of Imagine. Nowadays, I'm taking care of our partnerships, so I'm supporting companies with finding talent all over the world among our fellows at Imagine. In Brazil, before moving to Germany, I was living in Brazil and working in the HR field. So my experience working with companies, hiring managers, and assessing candidates adds value to our mission at Imagine.
And what the core mission and vision of Imagine?
Good question. Yeah, so we decided to found Imagine in 2018, my co-founder Johan and I, under the mission of connecting talent from outside Europe with job opportunities and life opportunities in Europe. So we all have seen on the media these cases of very dangerous journeys people take when migrating to Europe illegally. At the same time, while living in Europe, especially in Germany, we see that there is a shortage of talent in the market. So why not connect those two sides? Why not connect people who want to live in Europe with companies that need professionals? So that's how we decided to create Imagine, and that's our mission, to connect talent. For us, talent has no borders. Talent is not determined by the place where you have been born. It's not determined by your gender or your religion. Talent is everywhere, and we want to connect talented people who want to migrate with companies that need talent.
And tell us about the challenges you saw job seekers facing in Europe.
Yeah, well, many. So especially because of cultural differences, there are differences as well in the expectations company held in terms of candidates, right? When they open positions, the way they want candidates present themselves, sell themselves, or the way they expect to see a CV to consider that candidate a good fit for the job. These things can change from one country to another. So I would say that the biggest challenges international candidates face when applying for jobs in Europe are due to the cultural differences. For example, in the way of presenting a CV. That's something that sounds like simple, but in practice, it can determine whether a candidate will be invited to an interview or not. And then second, communication style is another thing that is highly influenced by culture. And also it's one of the 5 main factors why companies hire someone. So CV, LinkedIn profile, communication, engagement with international teams. Those are the 4 most important factors that lead companies to hire someone, and they are highly influenced by culture. So this is why they are so challenging for international professionals.
Can you walk us through the process of connecting job seekers with volunteer coaching?
Absolutely, yeah. So first, the job seeker applies for our program. So we have a digital bootcamp. Everything is done remotely. You just need to have a computer and good internet connection. Once you apply, your application is reviewed by our team. And then if they fulfill certain criteria, they start the Imagine Bootcamp. That is quite simple. We have only 3 steps. So the first step is to use our study material to work on your CV and your LinkedIn profile, shape those 2 pieces according to the demands for the European market. That's the first step. Second step is to take a technical test. So depending on your role, if you are a backend or front end or data engineer, depending on your role, you have a specific technical test. And then third step is exactly what you said. They will meet a career coach at Imagine. In this coaching session, the coach will give advice in terms of how to improve the CV, how to improve the LinkedIn profile, answer any questions that these job seeker might have, because usually people who never lived in Europe or never applied for jobs in Europe, they have multiple questions. So the coach is there to support the job seeker with those questions. And once this person finishes the program, finishes the 3 steps, they receive a 360-degree feedback to understand how ready they are for the European job market.
Great. And Imagine boasts 500+% success rate in helping fellows get hired. Can you share some success stories that showcase the impact of your programs?
Absolutely. Yeah, I could tell you several. It's hard to pick only one. I can tell you of the most remarkable ones. So back in 2018, it was our first year running Imagine with the volunteers, trying to find companies who would support us. And then after 5 months, 5 or 6 months of the program in Germany, we had this fellow who received not only 1, but 2 job offers. So it was quite a moment for us that we'll never forget. And then, there are many other cases as well. Another case that I like very much to tell is about Sarag. Sarag is it's a dear person for me. He was my mentee during the program. We met first, and then he was not ready for the job market. And I had to give him this feedback because we are honest, right? We only can empower people if we give them honest and constructive feedback. So this is what I did. I said, come back in 6 months, work on your CV, work on your communication skills, work on this. So we discussed a couple of topics in our call, and I asked him to work on those topics and come back 6 months later. He did this, and he received 3 offers in Germany. So he could choose from. He asked me, Fernanda, I have 3 offers now, 3 companies in 3 different cities. Which one should I pick? He decided to go for a company in Berlin, and he has been here since then. I think that was in 2019. So now it has been 5 years already, and we are still in contact. We are colleagues, we are close colleagues. He was a mentor at Imagine as well. So Sarag is a dear person for us.
Wow, so that's so impressive. Okay, so what's one piece of advice you'd give someone feeling discouraged in their job search?
The main piece of advice that we usually give job seekers is do not take rejections personally, because it's not. When you have your application rejected or when you get rejected after interviews, it's not you as a human being or as an individual who has been rejected. It's not about that. The rejection decision that companies make are much more a business decision rather than a personal decision. However, we tend to take things personally, right? We put so much effort to prepare for the interviews, to prepare for the technical tests. Then when we get a rejection that's so disappointing, we tend to take this as a personal rejection. And many people, after yeah, successive rejections, they tend to get depressed, sad. They tend to give up and say, I will never look for a job again. Don't do this. If you need a break, take a break, but then come back and try again, because it's really challenging to apply for jobs in a different country. You don't know this culture very well. You don't know what they expect from you as a candidate. You even need to change sometimes your communication style. I mean, this is so hard because our communication style, it's part of our personality, and you need to change this in order to talk to recruiters, right? Imagine how hard this is. So I understand the challenges. Everybody understands. And everybody at Imagine, now we have more than 400, more than 500 fellows from Imagine who got jobs here. And all of them, they had been through the same challenges. We understand you, but do not give up, because the rejections are not about you, are business decisions. So just try it again with another company, another position, and I'm sure that you will succeed.
Great. And give me examples of the nationalities of the candidates. The majority comes from where?
Yes, we mostly focused in the MENA region, so Middle East and Africa. I would say that 60 to 70% of our fellows, including the ones who already found jobs, they come from Egypt, because Egypt was the country where we started, where we had our first ambassadors, the first people supporting what we do. Our first coaches came from Egypt as well. So this is why the majority of our fellows come from Egypt. But then we also have people from Syria, Lebanon, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nigeria, yeah, many other countries in Africa. A few people coming from Latin America, but very few. The majority is in the MENA region.
And we need to confirm that to book a slot with a coach is totally free.
It's absolutely free. So the program that I described to you, the 3 steps, technical test, CV, LinkedIn, makeover, and the one-to-one session with a career coach, all those 3 steps are part of our core and free of charge program. And when you finish this program, you will you receive a 360-degree feedback. So yeah, I mean, it's just an investment of maybe 3 hours. You can finish the program within 3-4 hours maximum. And at the end, you have a full overview of the most important skills that enable you to apply for positions in the European market. Besides that, in case you are not ready yet, let's say, yeah, there are some technical skills that you need to further develop, or you need to gain some spikes, all good. In the 360-degree feedback document that the student receives, they will also find a lot of resources, open source resources that they can use to further develop themselves and get ready, fully ready for the job applications here.
In your experience, what are the key skills and qualities that European recruiters look for in candidates?
Great question. Yeah, we did this survey, I think 1.5 years ago, and we realized that there are those 4 aspects that are the most important aspects hiring teams take into consideration when they hire candidates. So the first one is communication. So it's super important to have a concise, crispy, straightforward communication. Second is the CV. So you really need to adapt your CV to the European market. For example, if I would say some characteristics of this CV, I would say it should be simple, elegant, concise, short, no more than 2 pages. The third one is LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn here is probably the biggest, the most important platform used by hiring teams to look for candidates. And then the fourth one is experience working with international teams. This is also something that also companies look for in candidates. They want to know if you are able to adjust your ways of working to adapt to people from different cultures, with different working styles, with different communication styles. So this is why for them it's important that you have already some experience working with people from different cultures.
And how can our listeners get involved with Imagine, either as job seekers or as volunteers?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So you can go to our platform, joinimagine.com, and there you will find more information about us, of course, about everything we do, but also you will find the link to apply for our bootcamp and the link to become a mentor at Imagine.
Great. And I will add the link of Imagine in the description of the episode also.
Amazing.
Great. And one of Imagine's services is providing feedback on CVs and LinkedIn profiles. Can you share some common mistakes job seekers make on these platforms and how your coaches help by correcting them?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that one of the most common mistakes is when job seekers have a very long CV. In some cultures, for example, in my country, I'm from Brazil, and there usually our CVs they tell our whole professional story. So we mention since the first internship sometimes until the current job. So everything is listed in the CV, and we tell about our experience in details. But this is not what the hiring teams like to see in the CVs. So our coaches try to help our students by giving them first a template of a CV that has 2 pages to limit the size of the CV. That's the first thing. And also they try to help them by sharing some strategies. For example, focus on the last 6 years of work experience. Those are the experiences that you describe in more details. But prior to that, you just summarize just 1 or 2 bullet points. Second, use bullet points to make it shorter, to make it more organized. So our coaches share these kind of strategies to help the students, the job seekers to make the CV in shape for the market. I would say that's the most common mistake. And the second one, if I could mention, would be not to mention the main tech stacks they used in each job. This is super important. When you apply for tech positions, it's important not to have only a skills section in your CV, but also mention for each work experience what technologies you worked with.
Great. Give us an important advice for someone who's looking for a job in Europe.
I would say first, work on your CV, because this will make you reflect upon your expertise. Software engineers, especially, because I'm talking about software engineers because this is our target group. So for them, it's quite common that they have been working with multiple technologies, right? It's tech. So everything that comes to the market, they will use, they will try to learn, they will be curious about. However, to apply for jobs in Europe, it's very much important to market your expertise. Not everything you have been using or learning, but especially your expertise. So my first advice would be rewrite your CV by showcasing your expertise instead of showing everything you have been doing, every technology you have been using. Once you do this exercise and identify your main expertise, now you go to job boards and you will search for jobs by using keywords related to your expertise. For example, if your expertise is in Java as a programming language, then you can use Java software engineer as keywords to look for jobs for you. Because again, these will connect you with jobs that really match your profile. Instead of applying to any software engineering job, you will be applying to jobs that really connect with your expertise. So I think this would be the main advice I would give for someone who is starting.
Great. And there is, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but I need you to confirm that. Some people usually say that sometimes the ATS or the applicant tracking system, the system that usually the recruiter use, may move the CVs to the spam. What's the case in this case when the ATS direct the CVs to the spam folder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have been working with the most popular, the preferred, the most beloved HS system. And I can tell you, the HS system only connects actually our job board, our web page, our career page with the recruiter, with the interface that the recruiter will see the applicants. So there is no spam folder there. There is no possibility that we will miss a CV. I worked with other HSs as well, minor ones, I mean, less complex HS systems. And still, there was no spam folder because we don't want to miss any CV, right? We want to have access to every single person who is interested in the job. So if an HS would do this kind of error, this would not be used by companies, I can tell you.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Fernanda, for sharing your insights today. I've seen, and it's been a pleasure to having you on the show. To our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode because it's so important episode to you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment or a voice message, share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Until next time, stay dynamic, keep driving your career forward with Career Dynamo.
Thank you so much, Marva, and congratulations on doing this kind of job especially for people who are in Egypt and could be interested in jobs in Europe. I'm sure that you are helping them a lot.
Sure, thank you so much, Fernanda.
Thank you, Marva.